What's going on, guys? It's David from AquaOtter back with another One Piece chapter review. Before we get into the chapter, I just want to thank everybody who watched the last video. After not posting on this channel for over 3 years, I was a little worried about coming back to it, but the reception to my last video was really good. So I'm going to be keeping these up for as long as people will be watching. With that being said, let's jump into chapter 1001, Battle of Monsters on Onigashima. So the cover page for this chapter is another reader request, Jinbei resting luxuriously on a jellyfish bed by PN Toshikiya. In the picture you see exactly as it says, Jinbei just resting on some jellyfish. The chapter begins with the aftermath of chapter 1000, with Kaido laying on the ground after Luffy just punched him, and Big Mom is freaking out, yelling about Luffy's words, saying, "How can you be talking about being king of the pirates at a time like this?" Luffy is completely unfazed, and Kaido's just sitting there going, "His punch, how could it have hurt me? Because this is Kaido we're talking about. I mean, Kaido is the unbeatable man." And the last time that he saw Luffy, as I said in the last video, he absolutely destroyed him in one hit. Zoro is thinking about whether or not it's the haki. Kid is also wondering whether or not it's haki. He's confused as to how Luffy can actually hurt him with physical blows. Killer is just laughing, of course, because that's all Killer does now since eating the smile fruit. And he's like, yes, we have a chance of winning. And then Law is... I'm going to hold off on talking about the Law panel until I talk about like the whole Law segment in general. Let's just say that Law is not really concerned with the punch right now. But so Big Mom continues to freak out, and she asks Luffy, "Do you have any idea what it means to be the king of the pirates?" And I love the way these next panels are juxtaposed to that question that she asks him. Do you have any idea what it means to be the king of the pirates? And while she's saying this out loud, she's in absolute disbelief that Luffy could actually hurt Kaido. Meanwhile, Kaido's in his head, and he's just wondering what happened, because the last time he saw Luffy, he wiped the floor with him no problem. Luffy couldn't even hurt him. So now what happened all of a sudden since then? And Kaido's thinking about how there are only a scant few people in his life who have actually been capable of fighting him. And he looks at Luffy, and this is where the juxtaposition is so beautiful. He looks at Luffy, and behind Luffy, beautiful panel here, behind Luffy is the shadowed faces of Odin, Whitebeard, Roger, Rocks, and Shanks. And he's thinking, how high is this kid's ceiling gonna go? That line, how high will your ceiling go? With all these legends of the past. I mean, I don't want to call Shanks a legend, but Shanks has been around for so long now, and we know he's an important character. We know so much about him that I think that we can definitely consider him a legend. But Odin, Whitebeard, Roger, Rocks, for Kaido to be comparing Luffy to these people, he knows in his head that what Luffy just said is 100% possible. And he laughs, and he stands up, Thunder Bagua, the same move that one-shot Luffy before. And Luffy, he gets hit. He does not manage to get out of the way. He takes that hit full force, and he's rolling, and he's trying to regain his composure, and when he does, he curses, and he says, "I was reading the future and everything. It's so fast." He couldn't even dodge Kaido's attacks, but critically, he was able to dodge it, and he wasn't able to do that before, so this just shows how much he's grown. And Kaido recognizes that too, because he says, "Very good, boy. You won't let the same one hit you head on twice." But Luffy doesn't have a whole lot of time to react to what Kaido just said, because Big Mom immediately gets involved. And she's coming down on him with Zeus, and this is where it is. I was waiting for this since the last panel. Everyone's been talking about what Zoro is going to do in this fight. A lot of people are theorizing that Zoro is the one who's going to take down Kaido, but Prometheus is coming down on Luffy, but Zoro jumps right in action, Foxfire style, Fire Flame Rend, cuts Prometheus right in half. Zoro's using Kinemon's moves, the Foxfire style, the ability to use your swords to actually cut fire and manipulate fire with the blade. It's so funny because Prometheus is just like screaming, he's cut in half, and Luffy of course says that, "Oh, that's Kinemon's technique," and Zoro just laughs and says, "Yeah, I stole it." But of course a Yonko won't be caught off guard that easily. Big Mom yells for Prometheus, who immediately reforms right behind Luffy, and Zoro yells out, doing what Zoro always does, reminding Luffy, "Don't lose focus for a second. There's 2 Yonko on the field. 2 Emperors of the Sea are here. We got Kaido and Big Mom." And I love this relationship that the two of them have, this dynamic that they keep going back to. I think the first time that I really noticed it was during Punk Hazard with the fight with Caesar, or before the fight with Caesar, where Luffy had already lost to him the first time, and Zoro said like, "Hey, this is the new world. You better not lose again." But so this is where I have to take a little break and go back to Law's reaction at the beginning of the chapter. Everyone else is kind of focusing on what happened with the punch to Kaido, but Law says, "Let me just say one thing." And that's all we hear until this moment. Because right as Zoro says that, Kaido is right behind Luffy ready to swing his big club again and hit him. And Law just shambles Luffy, boop, completely disappears, and all of a sudden Luffy's standing right in front of Law. And Law just says, I was already planning on moving the samurai. I just want to get that straight because I was gonna move them, and then you said send them all down below, which made it seem like I was following your orders, but I just want to clear it up. I was not following your orders. And then Kid gets involved here and says, oh yeah, Law, you know, you're Straw Hat's lackey, right? And Law's screaming, no, that's not the way it is. But then Big Mom comes in and throws Prometheus at him, has Prometheus launch 3 fireballs, the heavenly bonbons, right towards Kid, Luffy, and Law. And these fireballs are just coming to them, and Luffy just doing the absolute Luffyest thing that he can do in this moment, just says, alright then, that's fine. Whoever backs down from this attack first is a loser. And everyone's complaining about it because obviously a Yonko is launching fireballs right at them. What person in their sane mind is going to stand there and just let it hit them? Kid is saying, coming up with stupid contests like this is why you guys are so small time. Like, I'm the big guy because you guys are always fooling around. And Luffy says, well, that's fine. I guess you're just a loser. And so all of them, we get kind of the Law, Kid, Luffy version of the faces from the beginning of the Wano arc, when everyone finds out about Luffy being destroyed by Kaido. And Zoro, the voice of reason here, starts screaming at them all because they all, of course, stood there because they gotta one-up each other and took Big Mom's fireballs. So Zoro's yelling at them, and this is where we get, it's only a small panel, but we get this image of Big Mom and Kaido versus the Alliance right now. And it shows us how Big Mom and Kaido are on the same page, sort of. They're working together much better than their opponents are, but Kaido says, you know, stay back. I don't want you to take them down yet because I want to see what they can do. And she's, of course, just saying, oh, you really just can't help yourself, can you? So this is where we get kind of a moment that I've wanted to see for a long time. Zoro puts on his bandana and starts running at Big Mom and Kaido, and he's yelling at Killer, who up to this point hasn't really been doing anything. And he says, don't get my way, Hitokiri Kamazo. You don't hear many people with a laugh that weird. Because obviously earlier in Wano, Zoro and Killer went head to head, and Zoro took him down. And this leads to a little back and forth between the two of them, with Killer responding, oh, if I had my Punishers with me back then, you'd be dead by now. And Zoro, completely unfazed, just says, the outcome would have been the same. So Zoro and Killer are running at Kaido at this point, and they launch a double attack, which is so cool. Ever since we met the Supernovas back in Sabaody, and it was all captains except for 2 people. The 2 first mates of the Kid Pirates and the Straw Hat Pirates. The only 2 first mates, the only 2 people in the worst generation who are not captains are Zoro and Killer. And boom, here they are working together. Combo attack. Zoro hits his 3-sword style, Purgatory Onigiri. Killer hits Beheading Claws. And it looks for a second like it works on Kaido. But then, of course, Kaido starts laughing and just says, well done. Zoro's noting that he's got to unleash the Enma a bit more. And this is where the monster trio of the Supernovas gets back into the fight. Kaido proclaims that he's going to finish them all off at once, and then they all rush forward. This is an even better moment. The panel where Zoro and Killer are combo attacking, it doesn't even hold a candle to this next panel, because after Kaido says that, I'm going to finish this all at once, Kid pulls out his Punk Rotten, Luffy goes Gear 4, Law puts up a room, Kaido's just standing there, come at me. Big 3-way counter attack. Kid is in this giant, like, metal mech that he assembled from scrap metal. Luffy's in his Gear 4. Law's rushing after them. And Kaido's just sitting there laughing. They might as well be monsters in their own right, he says. And this is where they all deliver their attacks on Kaido. Luffy hits him with a Kong gun. Kid hits him with Punk Vice. Law hits him with a tact, and it looks like he goes through the floor that he broke in the last chapter. But of course, this is Kaido, so he's not out of the fight just yet. And Kaido's just laughing, and then here comes the dragon. And then these are the last 2 pages, which are primarily dominated by another big 2-page spread. And this page for me is not quite on the level of that double-page panel of Kid, Law, Luffy, Zoro, and Killer standing against Big Mom and Kaido, but it's pretty much the exact same thing, just from a different angle. And I really, really do like this panel, because you get Kaido in his dragon form. He's staring them down. You've got Big Mom riding atop Zeus. She's got her sword out. And then you see everyone in attack formation. You've got Kid in his big punk metal robot. Law's ready to attack. Killer's got his blades out. Zoro's got his blades out. Luffy's in Gear 4. And Kaido's talking a lot of smack here. He's laughing and he says, it would almost be a shame to kill you all, but you leave me no choice. Once you're dead, we'll take everything you have. All your manpower and treasure will belong to us. You've got some poneglyphs too, I assume. I can't wait for that. Whoever wins gets that much closer to King of the Pirates. And then the chapter ends. So I really liked this chapter. It was pretty much as good as you could expect from following up chapter 1000. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of expected it to be a little bit more. What they gave us was a lot, but it was like the last chapter you had so much information, and you obviously are not gonna get that. You never get that in One Piece. You have certain chapters where you get like these crazy info dumps, and I wouldn't even say that the last chapter was an info dump. It was just, there were a lot of things that it focused on, like it focused on kind of clarifying what the will of D was, but obviously that wasn't what this chapter was going to be, because the last chapter ended in the first shot of a war. So obviously this chapter was going to have to be kind of the war, you know, at least the first battle of the war that is inevitably coming. I think that even what we saw in here is just like such a small fraction of what is actually going to happen on this rooftop. And I honestly can't wait for the next chapter, because if I know anything about Oda's writing style, I feel like we're not going to come back to this in the next chapter. We're going to go elsewhere on Wano, which I kind of want, because now we have the fight kind of set up and starting, and all the other little battles that have also sort of been set up all around the island. But yeah, I mean, you have Sanji with Black Maria, you have Jinbei with Who's Who, like there's so much other stuff going on, and I can't wait. So we're back on hiatus after this for 2 weeks. The next chapter comes out on January 31st. Until then, let me know in the comments what you thought about the chapter. If you liked this video, please remember to like and subscribe for more manga reviews. If you like me, I also have a gaming YouTube channel that I do with my brother, Division 9 Gaming, which will be linked on screen right now if you want to go check that out. You can also catch us over at our Twitch. We're actually planning to start streaming again pretty regularly in February, so make sure to go over there and give us a follow. But until then, I will see you guys in 2 weeks with chapter 1002.